This is your last chance to get into some of the best deals when it comes to NFTs. The NFT market is starting to heat up again. 2022 is looking like it's gonna be one of the hottest seasons for NFTs. So these are gonna be my top 3 NFT picks in preparation for the explosion that's gonna be happening in the NFT space for 2022. So the first game that we're gonna be talking about is going to be Big Time. Now I know I talked about Big Time in my previous video, but they just recently launched a land sale. Now, if you don't know what Big Time is, it's basically like an MMO RPG. It's kind of like World of Warcraft for the NFT space, and the team is solid. They got a lot of people from Decentraland, Zynga, World of Warcraft, Gears of War, League of Legends, you know, all the top games, you name it, they got people there. So for the land sale specifically, there are these different pieces of land that you can buy, and you want to think of it like virtual real estate, similar to like the Sandbox where you can buy land at that. You could also buy land in Big Time. And depending on what kind of land you get will determine what you can do within the game. So from my understanding, you know, the more expensive the land, the more rarer it is, the larger the land area, the more income you can create from that piece of land, the more like rare items you can create depending on how rare your land is. So the more valuable the land, the better assets you create from that land. Almost like a farm, right? The better farmland is, the more water that's coming through, the better sunlight or whatever, you produce more. It's the same exact thing, except, you know, in a digital space. So when you look at the land, right, they're gonna be 3 different sizes: small, medium, large. Larger is more expensive, small is more cheaper, obviously. Then there's gonna be the different rarity from rare, epic, legendary, mythic, exalted. I think I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, but whatever. So as you basically go onto the bottom right, it gets more expensive, and obviously to the top left, it gets a lot cheaper. Personally, for me, I bought a bunch of the small ones because from my experience buying and selling NFTs, usually the easiest ones to sell are gonna be the cheapest ones and the most expensive ones, because there's always like a big whale who has a lot of money who's gonna buy the best of the best, and then there's like everybody else who's gonna buy the cheapest. And then all the things in the middle, in my opinion, are kind of hard to sell, because if you can't find a buyer for it, then you're gonna have to keep dropping your price, and then you're not gonna get fair market value. So that's why for me, I usually go for the cheapest or the most expensive, usually the cheapest. Now at the moment, if you were to buy Big Time land, it's all sold out, right? So I actually missed the mint, and so I had to buy it on the open market. And so these are gonna be all the different floor prices for the open market. So a lot of these prices did go up from the initial public sale, but it's not too expensive relative to where it started. So all this information is great, but if you really do a deeper analysis of why this land may be potentially valuable and like what the reward can be, let's go ahead and talk about that. So Big Time, they have a AAA team. It's like one of the best crypto games that I've seen so far based on all my research. So over the weekend, I literally spent the weekend just looking at games, like 20 different games, because I was trying to find different projects to invest into. And I found that more than 90% of the games are out with like $1 billion market cap. They either don't even have a game or the game sucks. Even the price is going up, but then the game is not gonna be good. So will the price go down in the future? Possibly, right? But when I look at Big Time, what I see is like a AAA team, all-star team. The game actually looks cool when I look at the trailers. Obviously nothing is out quite yet, but you know, they have one of the most potential compared to the market in general. So if I bought a piece of land, which I bought around $450, if I'm wrong and this game just kind of is not that exciting and it's whatever, then maybe the price goes down to 300 and then I lose $100 per piece of land that I bought. Okay, no big deal. But if I'm right and this game becomes a huge hit and is one of the best NFT games for 2022, then this land may multiply to, you know, a few thousand for that one piece of land that I bought for 400. So you're getting a multiple on your money potentially. So I like that risk to reward ratio where if I'm wrong, I don't really lose that much. But if I'm right, like I can multiply my money by 3 to 5 or even more if it becomes a smash hit. And again, the reason for why I personally bought this specific piece of land versus like any other game that is selling land, because everybody's selling land in these days, is because the team, right? Because the team coming from a AAA background, they had past success. The game actually looks good and it would be something that I would personally want to try out versus these other games where even they have a working game, I don't even want to give it a go because it looks terrible, it doesn't look fun, right? And a lot of crypto games, if you really pay attention, they're not actually good games. They're only valued extremely high because there's this crypto and NFT element. It's like they take a random game. I've seen games where they took a random like Android, iOS game and then just reskinned it and said, hey, this is now a crypto game. And like people bought into it. Whereas before they became a crypto game, they weren't really that successful as a game. That's why you really have to be careful about which games you invest in, because a lot of these games are going to zero and you really want to bet on the team. And so that's one project that I personally invested my own money into. So check it out if you're interested. So the next project that we're going to look at is Atom Bomb Squad by the Hundreds. Now this project, in my opinion, is underrated. When I first purchased this project, I didn't mint it because I'm always too slow to the mint. There's always these bots that just like buy it all up and then it just sells out. But when I bought it on OpenSea on the secondary market, I paid a premium because it was really hot at the time. I bought a bunch And then the price just kept dropping every single month. And I remember I was like down like 80% from my initial investment for some of these bonds. And I was like, oh my God, dude, like what's going on? And the sentiment is that the Hundreds is a big brand that has done like tens of millions at this point over the last 20 years as a real legitimate streetwear clothing brand. Now, they're the first ones to enter the NFT space as a streetwear brand, so which is what made it exciting, right? Because it's like fashion brand coming into NFTs, and that was like quite new at the time. So that's why I bought a bunch, and I'm a fan of Bobby Hundreds, who is one of the co-founders of the Hundreds. The reason I believe the price dropped so much is because people aren't seeing the utility and they're not seeing the value of why this NFT would be valuable. Okay, so what? They put out a bunch of bombs and they got a bunch of backgrounds, and then there's nothing to receive. There's no utility in these bombs quite yet, because when a project or when a company sells an NFT, it's not like they have anything beyond that quite yet. It's almost like they're raising money from their followers or their fans to build something. So they got millions of dollars in the bank to build something, but the public didn't really see what it was yet or what it could be. And I think that's why the price dropped so much. And now, because the Hundreds, I really feel like they're in it for the long term. They really stick out their neck to do an NFT project and be one of the first streetwear brands to do it. I'm pretty confident, based on the team and their past success over the last 20 years, that they will build something of value, but it's just not clear yet. So like when you go on their website, it's like, okay, so they got a bunch of bombs, different rarities, things like that. And then when you scroll down to, okay, what are the perks? You get a free t-shirt. Whoa, free t-shirt, right? So that's why people were like clowning on them, because who cares if you get a free t-shirt? Like you're spending like thousands on a bomb and you get a free t-shirt that costs like less than $5 to make. They got a lot of flack for that. Early access to the 100 drops, which makes sense because they are a clothing brand, but how valuable is that? I'm not sure. Fast line privilege to warehouse sales. So pretty much the perks are just an extension of their clothing brand, right? And a lot of people didn't see that as true like crypto native. It's just more like a membership to your regular brand outside of crypto. And I think that's why the price dropped. But in the future, on the roadmap, they're building a token, right? I'm sure there's gonna be some utility to that in closing. Ability to flex your ABS NFT in the metaverse. So I'm pretty sure they're gonna build like clothes and ability to put your bomb inside your virtual world, your metaverse world. I think this one's interesting, where you're gonna be able to promote your bomb. So like if somebody likes your stuff and likes your bomb and you put on a t-shirt, if the 100 sells it, then you get a cut of that. So it's like influencer marketing in a way. It's almost like affiliate marketing. So the reason why I'm personally holding it is because I know the team is strong. They have like 20 years of business experience. They know like all the influencers in their space, which is like streetwear, fashion, art. And I'm pretty sure they're gonna be able to onboard all these artists who doesn't even know what an NFT is, convince them to collaborate with the Hundreds and then create something valuable together. And so it's more of a community-based thing. So it's like, I'm not really investing in what the white paper says or what the website says or what the roadmap says. It's more like me understanding this team will probably figure it out in the future. For me, I think they're a team that can pull it off, and that's why I think it's undervalued, and that's why I have so many. So the next project we are gonna be talking about is CyberKongz, one of my favorite blue chip projects in the game right now. And specifically, what I think is a really good buy is the CyberKong Babies and the CyberKong VX. The adult ones are pretty much out of the price range for most people. I think it's like 50 Ethereum at the moment, right? So it's like most people cannot afford that. But a baby right now is worth 5 Ethereum. And I actually bought one over the weekend. So I have 2 of them now, and I actually bought it for 4.2 ETH. So the price went up by 1 ETH in like the last 2 days. And I think it's gonna continue to go up to like 15 Ethereum, probably touching that. And then the VX, my guess is it'll probably get up to like the 2 or 3 Ethereum the next few months. That's just my speculation. Why are these things gonna be so valuable? Well, the VX specifically are gonna be used in the sandbox. It's like they buy a bunch of land, they're gonna build a bunch of stuff on the land, you're gonna play a bunch of games. So it's like, what is it actually gonna look like? And on the CyberKongz Twitter page, if you look at it, this is kind of their concept that they have for one of their pieces of land. They have a ton of land on the sandbox. So this was created by actually an artist that I like, who did this project called Crypto Cities, which I'm a big fan of. And they got this person to design the concept for their sandbox world, essentially. Dude, this is looking like extremely high quality. It's probably like one of the best looking metaverse like cities that I've seen to date. And CyberKongz in general are just innovating in the space. So imagine if you had your 3D monkey running around in this sandbox world, and the world is actually significantly better or looks better than all the other worlds that are neighboring you. Not only that, but the sandbox alpha just came out. So people are starting to play if they have a pass. And soon that's gonna be more open to the public. And once it goes public and everybody can jump in, well, that's where usually, if the game is popular, all the assets within the game are gonna go up. So if CyberKong as a community goes up and people wanna play the game, all these VXs are also gonna go up because they're gonna be like, I wanna be a part of this. And why the babies specifically is really valuable, especially in the next maybe like 1 or 2 months, is because the babies are gonna have utility that is connected to this sandbox world and the VX world. And so right now the babies don't really do anything except give you access to a private Discord group where people share information for trading, but they're gonna add more utility directly to the babies. They're gonna be more valuable because it's gonna connect directly to this world in the sandbox, which is looking to look like it's gonna be pretty good. And so I think babies are slept on right now because a lot of people don't see the value in it yet, but I feel like in a month or two, the price will probably, and I mean, it's just my speculation, I could be wrong, but it will probably double or triple to 10 to 15 Ethereum in the next 2 months. But that's just my take, right? And that's why I personally bought a baby. In 2022, I think that's gonna be the year where gaming NFTs are going to skyrocket, whether it's coin or assets like NFTs in the game. And so right now, because we went into a little bit of a bear market in the month of December 2021, 2022, January is looking like everything's gonna pump up, and we could go back into a bear as well, right? But then there is gonna be, or there probably will be a pump. You know, nobody really knows for sure. If you're looking to buy a Cyberkong, for example, a VX, a baby, or maybe you're trying to buy big time land, right now, in my opinion, is a pretty good entry point into these projects. Because if the gaming NFTs all pump and everything starts skyrocketing, then you're gonna miss out on the opportunity to buy at a cheap price. And once all these prices start going up, you might FOMO into a price and buy something too high, and your risk to reward ratio might be not that great. My personal strategy is look for projects that are building for the long term, see what's the peak of their price and see when it starts dropping. And when you feel like it's gonna be close to the floor of the price, of course you can't predict it 100% of the time. When it gets close to the floor, then that's a good entry point because you know that this project is valuable, people are gonna value it, and if it gets back to the peak where it was, then you can multiply your money by 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, depending on the project. Find projects that you believe in for the long term, look for opportunities to buy them at a cheap price. And then once they pump up, when certain trends happen, like GameFi is gonna be pumping up, then you can either sell and you know, get a multiple on your money or get some kind of profit. Or if you want to just hold for the long term and not really look at it, you can also do that. It's not financial advice, that's just personally my take on things. And again, you know, I'm still learning like everybody else. I'm not saying I know everything, but that's a strategy that has worked well for me so far. That's it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.